Bit windy today, so I'll keep this brief and to the point. Let me swivel ye. I've got 3 of these old wooden doors that I've salvaged from various piles of junk around the place here. I think the original cottage doors where we lived from before the houses were renovated. So they're quite sturdy, but as you can see, a bit the worse for wear paint wise. But I was thinking, done some measuring up in the greenhouse. 3 of these would provide just about enough coverage to do the floor with. So I'm just going to see if I can clean this up and get all that flaking and no doubt lead filled paint off it. And yeah, that's the plan at the minute. I think I already cut a bit off this one at one stage, but it still should be tall enough to fit the width of the greenhouse. So I'll give it an old go and see what happens. Right, the battery's about to run out on the camera. Forgot to charge it last night. But yeah, we don't need to see the full works of this. It doesn't need to be perfect because it's just going to be floorboards to stand on. But yeah, I'll continue on with this, but I think you are getting let off school early because the battery's about to die. So I shall return to this theme later. There we go, that should be good enough to use as floorboards. I might give it a wee blast over with a sander or wire brush on the angle grinder just to get the crumbs off, but that's good enough. Like I said, it doesn't need to be perfect, it's just for walking on. This will be the underside, but I'm just going to peel the worst of that off. I'm not going to bother trying to scrape it and obviously take the novelty handles and things off. But that's quite good. It's got cross bracers, so built-in floorboard joists. But yeah, that'll do for now. I'm sure you'll be incredibly surprised to hear that it's just starting to rain as I was finishing doing that. So I'll just sweep up my crumbs, because I can see the ever-present chickens hoving into view in the distance, so no doubt they'll be over snacking on lead paint. Not that it'll make them any more lunatic than they are already, because the ground's about 90% lead round here anyway, so I think they're gone beyond all hope. But yeah, that'll do. So I've got to do that with another 2 doors, and then coming back to my ever-present theme, I am going to have to... I've worked out the dimensions that in the greenhouse they'll rest on 3 sides on the cement. I put 3 doors going that way. I think should cover the area. I'm still going to have to do something with that back edge there with the stones on it, but I'll think of something. But meantime, that'll do me for today. That was a bit of a proof of concept, just to see how easy it was to get the paint off them, and also what state the wood was in underneath, considering they've just been lying out in piles of rubbish and stuff for, well, don't know how many years, since before I moved here anyway. The wood's actually in quite good nick. It seems solid enough, there's no rot in it, so it could be oak or something. From back in the day when they actually made things with proper materials, not chipboard and snot. But anyway, I'm going to clear up my mess now, so that'll do. So as I said in the previous vid, I've got 3 of these doors. The first one cleaned up really easily because most of the paint was hanging off it anyway. That's the one at the back here. The next 2 were a bit more recalcitrant. As you can see, there's quite a bit left on there. They must have had about 6 coats of paint on them. There's like sort of light yellow, then a salmony pink, then a brown, then a black, then a couple of different shades of white on top. So I hammered them with a blowtorch and nearly set them on fire a couple of times, but still left loads behind. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the angle grinder on these with a wire brush and just try and get most of that off. So that means time lapse for you. Isn't that exciting? Now that was a bit of a half-arsed effort to get these clean. It was not having much effect. I tried the wire brush first and it was making a horrible noise. I know I didn't have my ear defenders on at that stage, but it's just, I think it's just really unbalanced, and that cheapo angle grinder is as well. It's making a really high-pitched noise. It was doing my head in, so I switched to the nylon Brillo paddy brush. And the trouble is you get such a small area of contact that you're cleaning like a bit about a centimetre wide all the time, so it would have took ages to do them properly. So the first one, which is behind me here, I spent quite a bit of time on, and it's not too bad. I mean, there's still quite a lot of paint left on it, but when confronted with the thought of doing another 2, I can't be arsed, to be honest. It's taking so long. What I really need to do this with is a sander, and I haven't got a sander. I thought, before I tried it with the angle grinder, I thought, yeah, it would be a quick scoosh across with a wire brush and it will all come off quite quickly, but no, it's going to take forever. So I think I'm going to have to just use them as they are. Right, I've gone and measured again, and the greenhouse is 240 something long, and the combined width of these doors was 250 something, so that works. And the width of the greenhouse was, I think, 87, and all these doors are, or was it 79? Anyway, all the doors are just slightly over that, apart from that one there, which is just under by about a centimetre, so that doesn't really matter. That's neither here nor there. So we should have enough coverage to cover the complete floor. Just got to work out the logistics of it now. Avoiding product placement there, because it's probably illegal in YouTube world. So yeah, I'm going to, I thought I was actually going to have to chop quite a bit off these to make them fit, but I think it only is going to come down to maybe trimming a couple of centimeters off the height of the longer ones, and then it should fit. But obviously, as I said before, we've got the, I'll have to remove some of these cross members at the back and find some way of levelling up this bloody eternal far end of the greenhouse so that the boards have got something to rest upon at that end. I'm feeling a bit sluggish at the minute because it's the trouble with the weather here this year. It's been like you get a week of just damp, miserable rain, and then when the sun does decide to come out, it's just swelteringly hot and your brain goes, can't think straight. But yeah, I'm going to turn the camera off for a bit and walk about looking stupid in the background, thinking what to do here, and then when I've come up with something to do, I'll turn the camera on again and look like I was on the ball the whole time. Right, I'll do for now. Okay, I'm back with a bit of a plan of action. What I'm going to do is cut these doors to height and just go in and kind of place them in the floor in there, and then I can kind of see underneath and see where the cross member bits need to be cut off, and it'll also give me an idea of how much or where I can put support at this top end. Right, I've measured everything again just to make sure. You know what they say, measure once, cut 73 times. I have a biblical tablet here. So inside of the greenhouse is either 187 or 186.5, somewhere in between there, width times 248 long. This is obviously good European centimetres, not stupid American groats or ounces or whatever the fuck they measure lengths with. And this board is 184 by 86. This is 184 by 79. I've written the numbers on them, I'm not remembering all this. And this is 190 by 86. So if I hadn't thrown away that stone, I could tell you what this all means. Forgotten where I'm up to now. Right, yes. So the width is what we've got to play with lengthwise on these boards. So let's go 186. So that's 184, that's 184, so we'll go 184. So this one's 187, so I need to take 3 centimetres off this one, which is quite handy because, look down this way camera, this end of it is wibbly wobbly crooked where I think it's been chopped before. So we'll chop off that end to take it down to 187, and then width-wise, that's where the mental arithmetic comes in. We have width-wise of the doors 86 plus 86 is 160, 172 plus 79 is 242, 251. And it has to be 248 to fit there. So we're just going to scrape it in, but that will probably mean I'll have to annoyingly just shave like about 2 centimetres off the full length of one of these. It'll be a bit of a ball ache, but can't really complain seeing as it's free wood and it should almost fit perfectly. You may remember in an earlier video when I was whinging me, okay, when I was elaborating on the fact that my comedy giant novelty set square hadn't come. Well, it did eventually turn up, so I've got this to play with now, which will be good for ruling the lines across here. to get it all perpendicular. I've also got my jigsaw, my power pack down here. So hopefully we can get away with this with just 2 cuts really. One to trim this height wise, or as will be width wise when it goes in there, and then should just need to shave the full length of one of them to make them fit lengthwise in there. So I may put you on time lapse for this, because I'm going to have to faff about for a bit getting the saw ready and ruling lines and stuff. So let's do that. Yeah, that was slower cutting than I was anticipating, mainly because it was going through one of the cross beams as well as the thickness of the planks. But I had to cut this end because this end was already crooked. So, par for the course, I suppose. I went off a bit off target there as well. But it shouldn't matter because we're actually got a centimetre or 2 to play with here as regards it fitting in. So I suppose the next thing I should do is put my money where my mouth is here and actually go and try and load a couple of these into the greenhouse and see if they actually do fit. And then if my sums are correct, we should find they fit width-wise, but we got slightly too long coming this way. I'll have to just trim up the edge of one of these, which will again be going through cross members or cross beams, but at least not all the way up, so hopefully be a bit quicker than that last cut. I'm pretty sure that's a new blade on the jigsaw as well, because I got a packet of new ones a while back and put one on it, and I don't think I've used it since, but yeah. That was very slow going, but we'll see if we can fit them in the greenhouse now. Right, I'm not going to put the last one in because it won't fit, and also I need to be able to have a bit of a peep underneath here to see what's going on, but let me swivel ye. So yeah, actually I think that turned out alright, especially considering that this was just fine timber and it is not going to take much trimming to fit. There's a bit of a difference of levels over there, but this is all to do with the variegated heights on this back wall here, because this still needs something putting underneath. But yeah, I think it'll be okay. I don't think it'll be too bad at all. I think it's probably sturdy enough to walk on as is, and when I get everything kind of sorted out, I'm going to bolt it in round the sides anyway into the cement, so that'll provide a bit more stability. But I'll risk life and limb to stand on it here. And this one's bending a bit in the middle, so maybe a joist up the middle of some kind. I think this one's actually a thicker door, or maybe it's just because it's more supported. But anyway, measuring up, after putting these two in, we have 82 centimetres left here width-wise for the last door, so that needs trimmed 82, and I think they were, was it 86 or 87, so I'm going to have to knock 4 centimetres off that. Do something with this far edge here. I mean, that's an ongoing, I'm going to have to do something about that, which I haven't got round to yet, but I will. I think the camera actually shut off there because it overheated. It's like a wee hot water bottle when I took it off the tripod. I know how it feels. Bad enough working outside on a day like this, but working inside a greenhouse, even with the door open. I mean, it's very crude. I've put a bit of wood, 2 bits of wood across the front here, tried to level them up by the existing edges of the foundations. As you can see, the one at the back for some reason insisted that being nearly level involved being on a lower level than that, even though that one is level with that and that's level with the one behind me. So who knows what's going on there, but they're roughly in place. So in theory, obviously blocking up the gaps underneath here, so cement will just run off. But in theory, if we put quite runny cement on here and let it find a level between the bottom of this and the top of this, that should continue that foundation all the way around and give us something to anchor the floor to on this side. It's all a bit hit and miss and not the ideal way of doing it, but well, we don't need to go over again why I've had to do it this way because of these damn things here, but yeah, it caused no end of trouble. If we had had completely flat ground here and just built this frame right the way around, we'd have been finished by now, home and dry. But this has just been causing jip all the way, and I'll kind of admit I've been kicking the can down the road a bit, thinking or saying I'll come up with something eventually. I'm still not entirely sure what to do about it, but at least we've got a level on the inside here, which, as I say, is probably not as accurate as it could be, but I'm not sure it matters so much now because the greenhouse is built and it's stable on this side thanks to these potato wedges or wooden wedges. So anything I do in between here and here, cement wise, level wise, is just really as a support for the floor. It's not providing anything structural as such to the greenhouse, although again, as I've said on many an occasion before, I am planning to put some cement under here, kind of pate it in, and then when that goes off it'll be providing extra support here, because I'm sure these wooden wedges will rot away eventually. So when they do, if there's cement in between them, then that'll still be supported on that side. That's what you call planning in advance. But in the meantime, I think I might call it a day for now. It must be late afternoon and it's absolutely boiling. Like I say, it's warm enough outside without having to sit in a greenhouse sweltering. I may come to regret this decision, because you know what the weather's been like round these parts recently, so we may end up now getting 2 weeks solid of rain. But as things stand at the minute, I'm minded to leave it till tomorrow. Maybe hope that it's a nice dry day but a bit cooler than we've got at the minute, because it's just ridiculoid warm. Like I say, it's bad enough if you're outside, but who wants to be working inside a greenhouse in weather like this? In fact, let me get out of there before I dissolve. So Mazza's just brought me up another pretend beer anyway, so I'm going to go and drink that now. But that is, what are we on now, episode 412. I feel like I'm progressing a bit on this floor thing today. I mean, we've cut all the pieces to size. Off camera we cut the third door lengthways down the way, so they should all fit now. So we've got a floor which fits, and we've just got to kind of do something in there that'll support it, because as you may, I can't remember if we had the camera on it then or not, but we kind of stood on them and it was a bit bouncy up and down the middle, a bit like a sprung dance floor. Thought it was back in the Ritz for a bit, but that was the Ritz in Manchester, by the way, not the Ritz Hotel. But yeah, that's it for today, I think. Camera's very hot, I'm very hot, the greenhouse is very hot. Let's have a bit of a relax now. It is the weekend after all, can't work all the time. So catch you later. Alrighty doodly, I decided to come out and maybe do a wee bit in the evening when it's a bit cooler. Just have me din-dins and relax for a bit. It's about coming up to 8 o'clock now, so it'll be light for a wee bit yet. And I'm going to see what I can do with this slot. So if I put you around the front, this is where I was up to before. There's quite a bit of space underneath in places, so I've brought some cardboard out and I'm going to basically shove that down the gap there, mix up a wee bit of cement and see if I can get some kind of an attempt at a level going. But before I do that, I will need to just clean this up a bit because it's a bit filthy. Still quite a bit of soil in it, and actually got some weeds coming up through and some cheeky nettle coming underneath there. I don't know how much I'll get done because I'm not even sure how much cement and sand we've got left, but if I at least can get this gap here between these new boards I've put in and the stones, if I could get that filled anyway, then that would give us a barrier here to come back from with cement. So, well, anyway, I'm just waffling, not for the first time. There we go. Blocked them up on the bottom with cardboard, and I put some rubble in to the bits where it was quite wide, but I'm thinking I'll probably have to lift that out and put the cement in and then put the rubble back in again, unless I mix some really runny cement that will pour down in between that lot, but then it would probably just run straight out the bottom. So let's see if we can get some cement mixed now. Was a bit disappointing. I thought I'd mixed loads of cement there. I used what was left of the sand. We had about two bits of bags, 1.5 bucketfuls mixed with about half a bucket of cement. But that's all the sand gone now, and we've got most of a bag of cement. But if I swivel you down here, it didn't even get up to the level of the board at the front, never mind all the way back. But I kept it quite thin and quite wet, so hopefully that will bond to those stones now, and it should be fairly straightforward now, in inverted commas, to just basically pour a load of cement in here, because once this barrier's in place now, as long as we keep it below the level of that. I mean, I don't know how thin you can make cement and pour it and still have it set without contracting loads. It would be nice just to get it really liquid and pour it in here and basically just fill this up now like a trench, now that we've got the front blocked off. But we'll have to see what happens. The stones, I mean, they're still pretty dirty. There's lots of soil in between them, but short of bringing a vacuum cleaner up here, I don't really see a way of getting that out. So I'm just hoping that wetting them and having the cement fairly thin, it'll bond to at least the flattish clean bits. But I think that'll do me for now. Well, not much else I can do really. Like I say, I've got some cement left, about 3/4 of a bag. Can you see it down there? I'm pointing. Off screen I'm pointing. But we're out of sand now, which is a bit of a bummer. So we might have to get another couple of bags of cement, or bags of sand and possibly cement. I knew this end was going to give me jip right from the start when I started digging out the weeds and clearing the land and came across those stones there, but it's just being a right pain in the arse because it's just dragging on and on and on. It's like, I suppose we're getting there incrementally, aren't we? We've got basically got the floor. We've got those 3 doors, which are, let me walk backwards, here behind me. Got the 3 doors, they're all cut to size, so they'll fit for the floor. It's really just that bit again that's holding us up. Once we've got that some kind of flat level surface there, we'll be home and dry. Well, not home and dry. Let's not tempt fate. But that's the last stumbling block. And as I've said before, or may have said, depending on how I edit the footage, I've kind of been putting off doing something with that all the time, kicking the can down the road a bit. But the thing was that we've had such crap weather all summer, well, it's not summer, all spring so far, that once we got a couple of dry days, we just had to get the thing built and kind of think, well, we'll come back to the foundation problem on that end later. If you had a sensible climate, then you could plan it a bit more effectively, but it really was just grab your opportunities when you can, get the thing built, kick the can down the road, and now try and come up with some way of backfilling that after the event. I'm just waffling now, haven't I? Right, that'll do for now. More on this later. Hello there, and welcome to the miraculous world of 3 sunny days in a row. I've just been to town, got 4 more bags of sand, and we've got 1 nearly full bag of cement left, so I'm hoping that'll be enough to finish levelling up in there after a fashion. Anything else to report? Nothing really, that's about it. So that's the first barrow full used up. It's not fantastically level, but as I've said before, it doesn't need to be for this stage. It's just for the doors to rest on and to get a bit of support under the frame here. So I'm hoping it will be good enough. It's really hard to judge the consistency of the cement as well, because it's so warm out here. It's thickening up almost as soon as we mix it, and of course doubly warm in here because I'm in the greenhouse. So I think I may have made it a bit too wet there, so we'll just have to see. when it dries whether it sags down a bit. But I was trying to keep it thin enough that I could hook it in under the base here, which is obviously difficult if it's really thick. We'll just have to see what happens. As I say, it's not mega critical this, that it is extra flat and extra level. It's just to give another side here for them doors to rest on to be the floor. So time to mix up another barrel of cement. Try not to get too much handling noise on the camera here, it's just a quickie. But we're having to adapt or die again with the planning of this, because we've used up nearly all the sand. I've got one barrel full made up out there, but just getting that wee corner done, and it actually gets deeper here. So returning to the original way we built the first section, I'm going to put a load of rubble in with the cement this time to try and bulk it out a bit, because otherwise we're not going to get anywhere. Because like I say, I've got one barrel full of cement out there made up, and I've got one bag of sand left after this. Well, I'm afraid that's as best we can do, because we're out of sand and out of cement now. So kind of got it all covered, but it's only up to the actual proper level, and kind of just in that corner and that area there, the middle's below the level required, but we can at least we've got something to attach things to now and to rest the doors on. We'll probably have to shim them up to level them, but yeah, we were mixing the cement really thin at the end as well to try and eke it out a bit, so I'm not sure how much it's going to sag now as well. Morning all. Here we are again in the echo chamber. It actually smells quite nice of here. In here even, sort of fresh cement. If we have a look at what we did yesterday, it's dry, well, starting to go off, it's hardish. But you can see the bits where it was really wet have receded slightly. It looks like a fossilized seashore line with tide marks on it now. So today I'm going to try and work out some kind of laying down of the doors approach. Should be okay on these two sides. This side will need a bit of shimming up. Still thinking about how to do that. And I want to put some either transverse beamage this way if I can find enough scraps of wood, or maybe bits across the way to provide some support in the middle. But first chore will be, because the doors have got those cross beams on the back, I need to lay them down and somehow, without being able to see underneath, mark where the edges are here on the top of the door, then transfer that to the bottom of the door, or the back side, the side that's going to be the bottom when I put them in here, and then either move those crossboards or trim them if there's, depending what's most practical. Right, there's the first door laid in place. I'm glad I didn't stop frame that, because you would have seen my purple sweating apoplectic face trying to struggle it in here. The two crossbars on either end are completely on the cement, so they need removed completely, and then either just don't bother with them or move them this way a bit for strengthening that way. The middle one is going to need trimmed at that end, back whatever distance the cement on that end comes out. So that's the next chore. spot the deliberate mistake. I wish I had before I hauled it back in here into Swelterland. I am looking in the right place. I moved the cross beams from either end in so they wouldn't hit this cement, but I made them the full width, so of course they're hitting on the cement at that end. Oh God, so now I need to take the door out again and trim them back, which will actually mean that the last plank is kind of free floating because it won't be held with anything. Thanks to my policy of using screws instead of nails to put the reinforcer or the crossbars in, I was able to just unscrew this bit and trim off the cross pieces without having to haul the door out again. So in theory, this should now shove up there. Unfortunately, with a detached last beam and last board, which is going to be a bit of a ball ache. What are we catching on now? This is a bit hard to do one-handed while holding a camera, so I might have to set you down here. If you don't mind, even if you do mind, it's going to happen anyway. Let me just adjust you. There you go, that better. Right, now you can laugh at my incompetence from the comfort of your own tripod. You want something? Tell me I've forgotten something else. What the hell's it catching on now? I think it might be just dipping in the middle and catching on the cement. Yes. You haven't lifted up, it goes right up in the air. Something weird happening here. I pushed you in too far, is it? No. Oh, God. No. I was being too smug there because I've trimmed those cross pieces to here, but they actually come back to here. So I am going to have to take the fecker out after all. Oh, poor wee me. It was actually a bit easier to carry with one board missing, so silver linings and clouds and all that. It's in place now, obviously not fixed down yet, and this last plank is freestanding now. Actually fits not too bad, and it's not actually as wobbly as I thought it might be. So I probably swang you about all over the place. I'm just testing. So I reckon that maybe a bit of squirty expanding foam underneath for cushioning and a couple of screws. You might even get away with putting the screws just through into the wood here. Because I was kind of expecting, because this end is low, that when you stood on that end it would kind of flip up at the other side like a seesaw, but it's not actually that bad. It's just annoying about that last board having to be disconnected now, because if I put anything along the top there and Mazza wants to put any shelves in or anything, then it's just going to get in the way, isn't it? So maybe that can just stay sort of loose at the back there. If it's wedged in by the by this front piece, and that front piece is screwed down or fastened in some way. It might not be that bad. It's hardly likely that anybody's going to be standing right on that backboard anyway. That's that in place. I've put some squirty foam underneath, as you can see, which is a bit messy trying to put the foam down and then slide this in on top of it. But we got a bit under. Oh, that's good, look. It's probably not a sensible thing to do if I want it to stay underneath till it hardens. But yeah, it's not really adhesive as such, although it is fairly sticky, especially when you get it on your hands. But I've left some blocks on the back to try and hold that loose one in place. So let's see if we can get another one done now. I don't know if I will. I just went back to the house to get the squirty foam stuff, and Mazza was making the dinner, so maybe I should call it a day for now. I don't feel like I've really achieved much, but getting one door in. But my method of working usually involves trying something, making it up as I go along, making a complete arse of it, then working out how I should have done it in the first place. And then once I've worked out how it should be done, it's usually not too bad getting, in this case, the other two. As a girl I used to work with used to say, failing to plan is planning to fail. She could have a point. But making it up as you go along is fun too. Fun, haha. Anyway, I'll probably do for today. I've just stood in some squirting foam as well, and I've got that all over my boot to clean off. But on camera, I shall remain calm and unmoved by such nasty incidents. And I've just got all my tools to clear up, which I've managed to spread from here, where I was cutting the doors, into the greenhouse, and some by the polytunnel as well. So by the time I've tidied that lot up, it'll definitely be dinner time. That'll do us for today then, so catch you later. Here's the second door. Not quite in place, but I've moved the crossbar from that end in to where you can see a line there, and the one on that side in that much where you may or may not be able to see a line. I just put it down, it was stuck up at this end, and I thought I'd done something stupid again, but then I realised that that post there, or that peg of the foundations, was sticking up, so I've just trimmed that off. Now I need to, the tricky bit is doing the foam without making a complete mess, because these nuts along the bottom stick out here, same on the other side, so you can't just lift the floorboard up or door up and then put the foam in and lower it again. You have to kind of slide it in, wiggle underneath. So I'm going to have to try and prop it up a bit and squirt the foam in underneath and then drag it back onto it again. But we're getting there, slowly but surely. I almost forgot, remember that wooden block I had before? Well, it wasn't quite the right height to support the centre there, but with a little bit of scrap wood on top, I mean, it's a bit wobbly, but it'll support the middles there. So I'm putting that in the join, which will be between these two doors. And what I'm just going to do before I slide things together is I'm going to give that a squirt of foam as well on that piece of wood, just again for more padding, insulation, sound deadening, wobble deadening, call it what you will. more smoothly than the last one, foam wise, because I was able to rest it on top of the board behind and then just kind of pull it onto the foam. I've just noticed something a bit annoying though, if I turn you around here, that I didn't notice this board here is actually resting on the lip of the base there, so it's slightly raised up here. So I'm going to have to try and cut that in situ there, just so I can press it down. It is a bit annoying. You see, if there was places to screw into here, which there ain't really, then you could screw it down and make it flat. It's not too bad, I mean, considering what I'm working with here. So I'm just going to put some screws in around the edges where I can get into bits of wood. There's actually quite thick wood here that I can go into, which is good. Not so much on this side, because we only use the thin floorboardy planks, but I can fasten in the centre and I can fasten through here on this thick stuff, and maybe if I'm lucky I might be able to get something into one of these. As you can probably hear and possibly see, normal weather service has been resumed after a miraculous 4 days in a row dry. So it's been raining on and off all day today. Annoying, because I've just got this one last bit of door to do to complete the floor, which when I get to the putting it down stage, I'll be working in the greenhouse, which will be okay, but unfortunately all the prepping the door has to be done outside in the wet. But I suppose I might as well get on with it. It's one of them annoying days where like the rain's just on for a bit, then it stops and you think, oh, it's okay, it stopped, and then it starts again. It's probably been on and off about a dozen times during the day. But at the minute it's raining. Not hugely heavily, but enough to make things wet. do believe we're almost done here. That's the last door in. There's one slight annoyance is these two doors on the end I think were actually thicker wood than the middle one, so you've got a bit of a lip there. This one's also probably a bit more warped. You can see there's a lip there, but as Mazza wisely pointed out one time, it's going to get really slippery having a wooden floor in a greenhouse anyway, so we're going to have to get some kind of matting put down on it. But essentially we're done now. I just need to go around and put a few screws in various places to hold it in place. But there we go. Finished. A few minor tweaks here and there, but essentially finished. So if you stuck with this 647 episode long series on us building a greenhouse, thanks for watching. Bye bye.